Hi everyone, it's Lucy from My Crazy Craft Life, and I am here with a design team post for Scrapping for Less, and I'll be using a SugarPea Designs stamp set called Ooh La La. Today I'm making a shadow box card, and I got the inspiration from Jennifer McGuire. So what you need are two pieces of paper you're going to cut at 5.5 inches by 4.25. So you can just use one sheet of paper if you're going to make it all one color. For this one I decided I wanted to do a two-tone. So the front part, because I was going to make it really, really plain, and then the back part I used an off-white color. So you're going to score the first sheet, whatever part you're going to use for the front of the card, at 4.25. And then you're going to cut a 1/2 inch off of the back of the card. The second sheet you're going to score at a 1/2 inch, 4.25, and 4 3/4 inch. And that's going to kind of make the box. Then you need to take something to make a circle, a square, an oval, whatever you're going to use as the cutout for the shadow box. I used a stitched oval for it. And you're going to put that somewhere in the center of between the 1/2 inch and the 4.25 part. So that is where that will go. Then I decided I was going to use that cute little croissant with the balloons, and I decided I wanted to use an Eiffel Tower because I thought it would be cute because the croissant has kind of its arm out waving. So I thought it would be cute if he was kind of holding on to the Eiffel Tower as if he was floating up in the air. I just used alcohol markers here, so I didn't do anything special with this. And then I just fussy cut out the image. I was just using that one image, so I just fussy cut it. I didn't bother to use my scan and cut like I would normally. But on this, after I did cut it out, I did go over it with the black marker just to do the edges so that it kind of looks a little more finished. And then I did not have anything that has an Eiffel Tower on it, so I just printed a image out from the internet and I cut it out. Well, at first I glued it onto some stronger paper because I just did it on copy paper. Don't ask me why, but whatever, that's what I did. And then I glued it onto some copy paper. So after that was done, I decided that I didn't like it with the white edges. Oh, here I was deciding what I was going to do with the front of the card. Like I said, I wanted to keep the front of the card really simple so that when you open it up to the shadow box, it kind of really packed a punch. So I decided all I was going to do was put a sentiment pretty much on the front of the card. I used some Versamark Dazzle Champagne ink, and then I heat embossed it with some gold embossing powder. I decided that, well, not so much decided, but after I did it, I think I pressed my stamp too hard, and so it kind of looks smushed, and I didn't want to have to scrap that whole piece of paper. So what I decided to do was just make a sentiment strip out of the paper that I used for the inside or the actual kind of shadow box portion of the card. And I put the sentiment on that, and I just kind of fishtailed the ends and decided that was what I was going to use. So once you have the pieces done for that, you do have to somehow, make your background. And since I used the blue card, I didn't want that to be the background because you could just put the stamps or whatever you were going to put underneath the shadow box right on the background of your card. But for this one, I just made a panel slightly smaller than the area that I have there. So it was about 4 inches by maybe 5.25 or so. I used a cloud stencil and some distress oxides just to make the background. If you ever look at pictures of the Eiffel Tower kind of straight on, there's not really anything that towers over it, so it's just usually a blue background. So I used the Broken China and Mermaid Lagoon and just kind of went back and forth with them. I stamped the sentiment on the front of the shadow box that I wanted to use. It says, "I simply adore you," and I did the same thing and I heat embossed it I used the same ink and I heat embossed it with the gold embossing powder. Now, I made this card first, or I made a shadow box portion of the card first because I wanted to kind of see how it went, and it was perfect. Did not have a single problem when I was making it. This is where I decided that I didn't like the blue that it was, so I thought it'd be kind of cool if I heat embossed it. And you see I spilled it all over. I knocked it down when I was using it, and I made the brilliant mistake of stamping on that piece of paper and then also using it to put the embossing powder on, so the embossing powder stuck all over the stamped part. So I didn't do the whole thing at first. I only did part of it because I didn't think it was going to show, but then when I was kind of piecing it together and figuring out where I wanted it, I realized I really needed just to do the whole thing. So again, I pulled out my heat embossing stuff. I heat embossed it. Then just a suggestion, if you're doing this, don't touch it right away because you see right there I ended up putting my fingerprint in it, and I heat embossed it again and pretty much got that out. But I just did that in the gold embossing powder that matched the sentiments. So there's my little guy holding on to the Eiffel Tower before he floats up in the air. Now, when you're going to put this together, on the 1/2 inch side of the shadow box portion of it, you're going to kind of line it up inside of the card and then just fold that down. Before you finish completely tape your entire card together, you want to make sure that you put your panel in there, because on the first card I made, I did end up doing that after the fact, and I had to kind of slide it in there, but this way is much easier. So you just want to kind of piece it together and kind of fold it over and make sure that it's going to be centered for the card when you open it. So I used some liquid glue, art glitter glue actually, which is one of my favorites. And then for my little croissant, I used the art glitter glue as well. So now when you're going to tape the back portion of it, you're going to do it on the back part of the card, so the part that you cut the 1/2 inch off, and you're going to put it on both sides of the back of the card. And then you just simply fold it over. But you want to make sure that that 1/2 inch that's there between the 4 1/4 and the 3 or 4 3/4 is actually taped down. And like I said, I wanted to keep this really simple, so I just put some Nuvo drops on there, and I put that sentiment strip on over the squished part, and that's it. That is the card. So I hope everybody enjoyed it. Don't forget to grab your Ooh La La stamp set over at Scrapping for Less, and I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.